3 tanks all split, just 3 games. 18 non-tank games favoring Swain, playing a lot of those carry champions in the top lane, and he really is the big carry of the team. He averages 15 CS up at 15 minutes over his opponent. The next highest person on his team averages 1 CS up at 15 minutes. He is the early game lead.
That's going to be crucial for them to set him up for success, but also Pentagram paying a lot of respect over to the side of Chiton, taking away the Ezreal. He's been so lane dominant on it. You saw it in the highlights. Of course, that bottom play when he has the Taric by his side can be so strong, and Pentagram keeping up suit, banning away more AD carries. Xayah, I think, no surprise for anybody.
Yeah, the Ezreal shifting forward with the Taric combination. He's been loving that champion. 2 games where he was almost 1,000 damage per minute back in the finals. One of them where he was 1,200 damage per minute. And I wonder if Pentagram will ban Caitlyn as their last ban here and just get 380 carries off the board.
The question is, what does that open up? What do they want to put their priority on? Are they going to set YutoriMoyasi up for success? What will they take away? Rakan, of course, still in the picture. Caitlyn still in the picture. The Xayah as well. Similar situation to what we've seen before, along with some power pick top laners and mid laners. Could go through.
If you're really afraid of Riyev, you ban away the Rakan, and then you split Caitlyn for Xayah or Tristana for yourself. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and leave Caitlyn and both Rakan and Xayah up.
And that's the swing you were talking about from Zantins. Not letting that go through. Yet another power pick, despite its nerfs, who seem to be so strong in the tournament. But Rakan feels like the universal first pick. Everybody loves to have it.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just trading 80 carries, and if I pick Caitlyn, you pick Xayah, Rakan. If I pick Rakan, you pick Xayah or Caitlyn, I get the other one. So either I get the Xayah-Rakan combo, or I get one of the best 80 carries. So it forces you to kind of break up the combination and use one of your early picks on an AD that may not be something that you really want to pick here. Potentially jungle here as well for Pentagram. I think that's kind of the trend we're seeing here when Rakan is picked, is that you go for your jungler in this same rotation.
And the jungle pool was wide open. No bans directed there whatsoever. All the power picks up and available. See what they want to opt for. Last game was the Trundle and the Skarner making their way through, as well as the Kha'Zix banned away. But it is going to be the Alistar. So it looks like Pentagram want to fight that all-in power with a little bit of all-in power of their own.
Yeah, and he's actually quite good against Rakan. The headbutt, you can buffer it and make sure that you knock him away when he's trying to W. So yeah, I'll see what happens here. It's a pretty good combo for the lane phase up against the Rakan. Allows some playmaking from Gaeng as well.
But now what do they take into it?
Oh,
Trundle, of course, the first pick here, do have the opportunity to take an AD carry with their last pick of the first rotation, and may want to. We saw a similar scenario on our last pick in ban where a lot of those AD carries could just get taken off the board if you wait any longer to lock them in.
Yeah, I feel like you go Caitlyn here because there's already 2 kind of pinches. The Trundle is kind of the no-brainer for the S-tier junglers. You can pick things like Nidalee and Graves into it and make it struggle a bit, but once is kind of more of like the Olaf player. Lee Sin also got some buffs too. We'll see if he maybe goes for one of those champions, but Skarner is the safest bet. But we'll see what they end up doing here. Lots of pivots that you can go for. I would expect jungle though. Ooh, okay.
Kha'Zix coming in for once. I like it. This is not a pick that we've seen too much of. Definitely powerful if it can find those isolated targets. May be difficult, but it does mean that Chiton's going to have a lot harder time surviving in that mid game, especially if he's ever alone in that jungle.
But it also means that KaBuM are probably going to be a tankless composition because Trundle is semi-tank. He does get pretty beefy, but it's a lot of it's just regen off of having a tank on the other side. So Zantins, we were talking about how he loves to play carry top laners, only played 3 tanks in their 21 games. He's probably not picking a tank this game. And you don't have a tank jungler, you don't have a tank support. It's going to be a very squishy composition for KaBuM.
And we've seen it worked out well in the previous game for Supermassive.
Yeah, when you have enough damage, it definitely works.
And of course, the Trundle there was as well. So a little bit of a pseudo tank there. Stealing those stats away, building quite tanky. The Vladimir taken off the board though, so it looks like really the adaptation is coming through in terms of how teams are viewing what is strong. Jace taken away as well from Zantins. Of course, a pick he pulled out in the playoffs. Was invisible for some parts of the game, but then came in clutch across a lot of team fights.
Yeah, the Jace is pretty much for the lane dominance for Zantins. I wonder what he's going to take here because he's pretty much been favoring the Jace, the Vladimir, the Swain. Gnar and GP. Oh, there's the Gnar. They banned it themselves, actually. So now I'm really interested to see what he goes for here because Camille is kind of what jumps up as one of those carries that's left in like that S-tier meta.
very true. What are the options for Pentagram? What are they going to save for last pick? Looks like they might be willing to give up mid lane, let that role be counterpicked in exchange for that top laner for Paz.
Nice.
Zoe.
That's your cheers for Zoe.
Things have changed.
I know, it's been
Zirene. She's a balanced champion now. People can get excited. Also, no one plays her in solo queue, so it's not, you know, you don't have that visceral feeling of hatred when you see her locked in.
That's true. People are a little bit, you know, warmer to champions when they aren't 100% pick banned. But yeah, Zoe for Ramune. We'll see if he's able to pop off here. But, ooh, LeBlanc, let's go!
New LeBlanc on the main stage. It's exactly what we wanted to see from the play-ins. New picks coming in.
New old LeBlanc. Oh, she does so much damage so quickly. You get that burst. You don't have to prime it anymore. It's none of that. Hit them with the sigil. Wait for the little circle to come around. It's just, bam, back
Double
to W.
sigil.
Get in there.
QR, let's go. Every single time.
Oh.
Ornn now rounding it out, though. That's one of the tankier picks we were looking for, so bit of a mix here. See how Pentagram won around their composition out. Shen, the current hubber, is a tankier pick to back up some of the damage sources on their lineup, but
I like the Shen. I actually think it's really good to play to YutoriMoyasi's strengths. Also, I think Paz is probably one of the weakest players on the lineup from a skill perspective. So allowing him to affect the rest of the map, I think, is one of the best things. Also, if you are split pushing ever, Kha'Zix is one of the best junglers at shadowing lanes. And then Kha'Zix plus Shen is a great delivery system for team fights.
it's true. We've seen that before with kind of picks like Rengar as well when it was popular in the past. And excited to see how Once can use this stealth if we do see the 1-3-1 situation.
I'm really interested, though, to see what happens with this Ornn because Zantins, he's really been favoring that carry style. He has been the carry for the team. KaBuM struggled to get off the ground when he isn't dominating his lane. And like I said earlier, he is the early game. But now it looks like it's going to be in the hands of Chitan and also Dynquedo. So, I know, I got to put a little preface here. It looks like Titan. He said it's Chitan, so we'll be saying that. And
We're going to go with the player preference here, of course.
And the mid laner.
Phonetic is different kind of in the language when you say what we assume is the phonetic spelling. So it's Chitan and Dynquedo.
Dynquedo, yes, for the mid laner.
So work with us if you're working at home. But of course, want to respect the players' wishes. And two very exciting compositions. Zirene, I think top lane is exciting to see. Bot lane as well, though. 2 star players, 1 on each side, going toe-to-toe here as we enter Game 2 between KaBuM eSports and Pentagram.
Both teams very hungry to prove themselves. Pentagram, the 1-9 from 2017, is basically a cloud over their heads. They want to be able to just have the sun shine through to just get away from that and start proving that the LJL should be on the map. And KaBuM want to prove that they're the representative that Brazil has been craving.
Absolutely have. Looking for someone who can make it further in these tournaments, who can make their mark. Of course, for Pentagram, a new name, maybe a new fate to follow as well as we get in the game here. The Lovers duo finally split up on the Rift. Boom chance coming in.
Pentagram, I heard that as well.
I'm ready, Zirene. There's so much that I find interesting. The bot lane is so interesting to me. There's Engage. Look at the Rakan and the Alistar.
Look at the LeBlanc.
Also the LeBlanc. Oh, God, there's also a LeBlanc. But there's 2 supports who want to... Zirene.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about the LeBlanc. I think you're right. Let's talk about the LeBlanc. This is the first time a lot of people have seen new LeBlanc, new old LeBlanc, as you called it earlier. What are we actually expecting from a LeBlanc versus Zoe matchup?
So a lot of mobility from the LeBlanc. One of Zoe's biggest weaknesses is that she doesn't have a true escape, right? She has to snap back to where she came from with her R. So one of her biggest counters was the Kassadin. Now the LeBlanc comes in. This isn't your TP Gunblade, oh, I'm going to go ahead, sustain up, do a little damage LeBlanc. This is LeBlanc. You go after them, electrocute, ignite. You try to kill them. And so I want to see that here. I want to see him be very aggressive and abuse the fact that Zoe doesn't have a true escape.
And players from like 3 years ago are probably sitting there like traumatized, remembering when LeBlanc was a strong champion.
Oh, yeah. And remember, a lot of her damage is the WR combo in fights. So you actually just AoE people down. So she has a lot of team fight presence.
I want to see, it's interesting just to get used to the champion again, to see not quite the same wave clear with the Q, a completely different laning pattern. Now going back. For now, even though level 1, we will need a few more levels before we see these very aggressive trades, maybe just 1 or 2. But Riyev, he only needs a level 1. We'll throw down a bit of damage here. Again, YutoriMoyasi actually suffering a lot in the laning phase. Good play coming in from Chitan. Riyev really pushing the limits on their champions in this level 1 trade.
He just took like 400 damage because he was slightly out of position, and Riyev hit the W. Like, that's actually ridiculous because they basically lose the laning phase now. They're going to get denied by this Caitlyn, and they're just going to get pushed under their turret. And Yutori's going to have to kind of scrounge around and last hit under turret as effectively as possible.
And the first thing that you brought up, Zirene, was wanting to see that same level of performance from YutoriMoyasi that we see in the LJL, and it's already going to be difficult. And unfortunately, it just gets harder for once, too, as the invade is coming in for KaBuM.
Yeah, he started on the top side. They know this, and he actually can't get his blue buff. He leashes it, and it's going to go back. And Ranger, level 3, once again, try to hit level 3 off of this. But yeah, I actually like this from once because he pulled back at the right time. He didn't ward it, so he doesn't know exactly what's going on. But they just saw that once cleared the camp. Jumps over. Oh, he doesn't have a smite. He doesn't have a smite. They don't know that, though.
Waiting.
He wants to leash it. He wants to leash it.
Where is it? He's waiting on the smite. It does just come up. He is going to move forward, though. Once bullied out of his own jungle. And now Drakos just getting a good trade in mid lane as well.
A fantastic trade. That's going to be actually the potions out of Ramune. He's actually out now. So he's going to be around with 350 HP. That's Ignite range. That's WQ Ignite range.
Once going to steal it back, but forced to use the smite. Ranger's going to make sure he disrupts any back, but honestly, fantastic use of lane pressure coming in here from KaBuM.
Yeah, playing to that bottom side. Yutori, though, caught out.
They're going to interrupt the support, but not exactly what they want. Riyev just jumps right back out, and Titan gets another free 80 carry. You can see the pot already used from YutoriMoyasi just to heal up a bit. One left in the inventory of Gaeng, but very difficult laning phase early on. And Good news, though, checking on the top side. Paz on the top side. This is a guy you may not have expected as much from, especially against Zantins, but he's actually doing well in the early lane.
Yeah, Zantins is actually going to try to look for a semi-freeze here against Paz, which always kind of sucks. Like, top laners, it's my off role, so when I play it and I play against a good top laner who knows how to freeze, it feels really bad. So he has like 3 caster minions, I think 2 over him, so this will be a slow push back now because of the fact that it's stacked. So we'll see if Trundle makes it up to the top side in time.
Already seeing that pathing come through. May stop for a Scuttle Crab on the way. May look for a little bit of invade, but another engage on the bottom side. Riyev may just get stunned here. The heal actually going to be burned. Titan and Riyev actually paying a little bit for that aggression that they've been putting down. All the pressure moving forward. Burning that summoner spell.
We'll see if that actually hurts them because you can go for an all-in with the Alistar, especially with the Ignite.
And we look at the relative damage output. Caitlyn doesn't get the trap set up. I mean, a lot of damage on that Blade Caller. MSI is able to lay it down if they can actually lock down a target. Mid lane, though, continues to be a pretty big issue for the side of Pentagram. The CS lead already growing.
Well, Drakos is up 13 CS. There's a wave here for Ramune to CS, so we'll look at it now, and it's about 8. But Ramune had to back, TP'd in, and all he got was a null magic mantle. So Drakos is going to be sitting on more gold. He's going to be able to back at a better time. And it's not even something that like Ramune now has a way to shove better because he bought items. It's just a defensive item here for him.
And we have to remember that the terrifying point of old LeBlanc was definitely not the level 5, Zirene. It was the level 6. When you get a Mimic an ability, people start dying. And if it's Ramune under his tower or someone else in another lane, Pentagram need to be concerned because with LeBlanc pushing as much as she is, does not look like they're going to get to dictate the pace here.
Yeah, and LeBlanc actually has like a mild false choice. Because it's like, which one would you rather have? I'll talk in a second here, because he just went forward.
Mortal jump, already burned that. Ranger just gets to walk forward on Ramune, trying to take a little bit more time. Flash forward immediately, the damage ticking down. Burn, baby, burn. Burst blood for KaBuM.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
Power Rangers finish. Zirene just looks away as he blows up.
He knows that he caught him there, but basically what you do is you make sure that the Zoe, if she's standing in the wave, you W the wave. It's going to shove the wave, it's going to hit the other person. If they aren't standing in the wave, easy chain because they don't have minions in front of them. So against LeBlanc, you do have to kind of figure out how you want to play it and shift between that. And you can see Ramune, it doesn't look like he's as familiar with this iteration of the LeBlanc because there's so much damage that comes out with the max W. We'll see it one more time here. It's a great gank from Ranger. Ramune thinks he has the advantage because he hit 6 first. Then boop, comes out and flashes. I think he still ate the W damage, though, even though he flashed.
And here's the thing, Zirene. You talked about how Zoe is just kind of trapped in that matchup because she's always going to go back to the same spot, doesn't have that free mobility, and you saw it there. Portal jump. I mean, it wouldn't have done anything even if she didn't burn it.
Yeah, and it got even worse just now because he backed, he got items, lost chapter, has more AP. Ramune has no flash now. So, like I said, he has no true escape in the Zoe kit. Now he has no escape, period. And a gank will most likely kill him when that Mimic is up, which it is now. So Drakos, if they want to go for Ramune, There they go.
And there it is, portal jump, rinse and repeat. Pillar's gonna come behind in a second, but a sleepy LeBlanc, not exactly what they need. Shen ult coming in as well, once is in the mid lane. Maybe just turn on Ranger. Ranger has to now flash out to safety, but that is the global burn for Paz. Immediately the follow with a taunt. A lot of damage goes in. Drakos tries to fire back, but a great kill pickup being burned there. But meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Riyev may have overstayed his welcome. The Ignite, it's ticking down. There it is. Is gonna get it. Alistar grabs the kill into the TP on the bottom side. The Ornn ult too. Zirene, there is blood everywhere. The ulti fired back. Blade Caller not gonna connect, and the action stops for just a moment.
Both top laners go to different lanes. That was Paz going mid, TPing back top, as Zantins goes at TP's bottom. So they're all trying to just affect other lanes here. And Dynquedo, oh, he's actually getting pushed in now because of that gank earlier, so he doesn't have his jungler on the side. Oh, good dodge.
Levels under his belt, looking a little bit more comfortable too once here. Is gonna evolve the claws first. That's new, that's spicy.
And there's the defense.
Gonna back right out once may have overstayed his welcome. Auto flashes, beautiful play from Drakos. Now a movement speed steroid.
How long on the pillar, though? This is going to be...
Smites it. Red buff taking, you get a little bit of regen here. That's just going to help him out. Ramune here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble says back off. Not going to take the advice, though, so a little bit more damage will get thrown his way, but I did not expect this from once. He had a very lackluster finals appearance, but now he's playing so aggressive, and that was very high risk. Don't get me wrong, Zirene, but I think that's the kind of thing you like to see for your Kha'Zix.
Oh, absolutely, because they were talking about on the desk, the pentagram in the LJL, it's constantly just kind of macro focused. It's all about just playing the map. And here we're seeing a lot of aggression to try and match the aggression that's being put out here by the CB LoL team of KaBuM. I love that from Paz. You see Ranger flashes just to try and get away, but it's going to be the taunt flash afterward, and Drakos can't do anything about that. Whereas Riyev, he tries to go in, he actually gets the feathers pulled in on him right then, so he actually takes a lot of damage as he goes in with the W.
So much damage in Xayah's kit, and you always kind of get baited by how much damage that Blade Caller is going to do. And really, already a pretty bloody game, and you know, from looking at the regular season in the LJL, Pentagram 1.9 kills at 15 minutes, already at 2. I mean,
I was like, it's literally 3 kills 9 minutes in. It is a bloody game by their standards for sure, because they're very macro focused. It's almost like Korea in a sense, where LJL tries to mimic them a whole bunch in terms of the choke out vision style.
Yeah, that death by 1,000 cuts kind of play style.
Basically lose a wave here or there and just constantly try to do that.
Go for the play, but now you can see, I mean, if we look back just 3 minutes, Riyev and Cheeton were dominating this lane in terms of pressure, and now they're scared to approach the wave. So things clearly turning back in the favor of Pentagram. And it's good that it's in the hands of YutoriMoyasi and Gaeng in this bottom lane, because it's exactly who you would want to see carry.
Yeah, they got to back with a little bit more gold. They have the assist under their belt too. And so that kind of equated to the dagger plus the boots in the advantage. And there's no potions on Cheeton, so if he takes damage, it pretty much sticks. And now they get the advantage. They get to play to this lane, and Pentagram with that 1K gold lead get to get this Drake. The Ocean helps them so much. Best early game Drake.
Especially with the tank matchup in the top lane. Literally the nightmare of every tank top laner is having to play tanky-tank matchup against someone with an Ocean. You can see Paz already healing back up, gets to wander back in the lane with that grasp proc ready to go. And Zantins, maybe he can all in to find a win, but the extended trades are just not going to favor him when the Ocean is there to back Paz up.
Just trade grass procs, who can get the most in the lane phase.
Who can gain the most health humanly possible, Zirene? We'll find out. But I think what I want to see is a little bit of that same kind of playmaking that we saw from KaBuM in the CB LoL. Because right now, this slow, steady game, this is Pentagram to a T. We know that this is what they want if they can just keep playing a slower laning phase.
Yeah, once they have an advantage, they like to slow things down. But top lane looks like KaBuM going to try to go with what you were saying.
And CC comes in. The Trundle ult is there as well. Paz, unfortunately, no way to make it out. That is the strength of the Trundle.
Yep, the flash used earlier to get the kill in the mid lane onto Ranger, and now they're going to push in.
A bit of damage there. And he's going to try to make his way out. Once goes forward, but he's baited in by the shield. The immediate turn, and down he goes. Disrespecting the orange shield. Once is going to regret that one.
I mean, everybody does that every now and then. You're just like, oh, he's almost dead. Doesn't have enough damage just yet. He has the completed warrior. When he started that, he thought he'd be able to do it, but he's not isolated, right? The isolated claws is really where a lot of that damage comes from. He even evolved them first to try and just make it so that, hey, he's going to do more damage to these isolated targets.
Which is so strange because we're so used to seeing the ulti evolved. We can take a look at this play one more time, and this is the all-in we were talking about in terms of what you have to be willing to commit to take out Paz, and really just, once again, good pathing from Ranger. He's been having a fantastic game thus far, really being everywhere he needs to be.
Yeah, he is 2-1-1. He has 100% kill participation. He's pretty much been the reason that they've been able to have these turnarounds here. Goes on to Zantins. He's not isolated, even though you have the Evolved Claws. The Evolved Claws, all it does for you is it gives you 45% cooldown reduction on the Q when they're isolated. Otherwise, it's just that basic attack range increase of 50. So basically did nothing for him there.
A little bit lackluster, I think, in the evolution choice from what we've seen. We have to wonder if it will count for more value if he can find maybe an isolated duel up against the Trundle. But unfortunately, he's kind of behind in terms of the itemization already. Trundle onto his second item while he's just finishing the first and working towards those tier 2s.
That definitely hurt him a lot because you want to be at least on an even playing field. And when you give another kill over like that, especially to the person that you're trying to isolate and find in their jungle, it feels really bad because he was actually up a level. Despite everything that happened earlier. But now Ranger is the one who's up a level, or at least half a level here.
And I really like this from Ranger. We expected more from Zantins, kind of expecting to win his early lane, be the reliable source. Now, though, the 1v1. Drakos just continues to pressure out Ramune, and looks like Pentagram will manage to get the bot lane tower, but the swap, KaBuM are just one step ahead, so maybe they'll keep up the tempo.
Yeah, it was also a really good swap of the heal in for Ramune. Swapped out his teleport for the heal with the Summoner Spellbook, and that's kind of what saved him there up against the Ignite. So Drakos potentially go in even further after that, but like you said, the swap comes through here. It's interesting, though, that they actually put their AD carry in the lane that doesn't have a turret in it, and it's more for just Rift Herald securing.
And they are going to get it so the plan works out as intended. Ranger will get the empowered recall as well for the next few minutes, and want to see how they play this if he wants to commit more resources to the top side, because there's actually no vision there from Pentagram. They'd be very vulnerable if they approach this wave, but you know, KaBuM playing a little slower, a little steadier, giving them the respect.
Yeah, Pentagram are now going to pick up this wave, but this gives priority to the bottom lane of KaBuM. They'll move towards mid, and this is where you have to say, are we going to just shove mid and try to siege up here with the Caitlyn, or is it more of we're going to wait, chunk out Ramune and keep it in lane phase, and then when he's chunked out, Ranger will come in, put down the Rift Herald. That seems like one of those more straightforward plans, but it just seems like they're going to continue to keep the pressure on and go for the siege here.
So Rift Herald as well as the ace in the hole. Ramune just getting chunked down. They're just going to run right into him, try to pick him off before the fight even starts. KaBuM with a quick pick there, and this might just be the Rift Herald, Zirene.
Yeah, that's a quick pick. I thought they were going to chunk him out. Well, 100%. You can't get
That's
much
a
more
big chunk
than that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty big chunk. Well, the turret also going to feel a little bit of a chunk here. Zirene is going to get knocked down here by the Rift Herald. Spectator. It did dash. This is a tricky.
They're still going, though. They're still going to keep going. You saw the Kha'Zix actually fighting on the side. This is a 2v3 in the mid lane.
YutoriMoyasi, though, good damage on Drakos onto Cheetown as well. And he is going to hold on to the tower. Great use of the feathers there.
They get that turret down to 1/4 HP, and that's kind of mission accomplished there for KaBuM. They got the kill, they got to push up the mid wave, and now they're sitting about 2,000 gold up.
Yeah, KaBuM playing the early game out very well. This is the concern for Rampage. Would they be able to keep up? It worked for a little while, but KaBuM now upping the tempo, keeping the pace up, and 2K gold lead, 2 towers to 1. Well, missing out on the Ocean Drake for sure, but feels like KaBuM once again in control, and it's pretty indicative, especially when you look at that mid lane matchup and see the CS and kill differential.
Yeah, and Zantins walks up, uses the ultimate. It's press R on Ramune is the name of the game there. Has so many ultis used. There's 4 ultimates to try and catch him out. They get him. It's worth it, but that's one of those situations where Ramune is just like, really, guys? Just everybody's here? But they weren't expecting that.
That's a situation where you type in chat and you ping every cooldown you possibly can and just hope that nobody gets mad.
Where are the Mias, guys? Yeah. But everybody was able to back, purchase, and that was kind of what Pentagram didn't want to have happen. KaBuM got to buy their Infinity Edge, they got to buy their Ludens, and just have all these items now in time for the Mountain Drake to come up. Because they could have been able to push them out and stop them from recalling for about 20 seconds, but now it's going to come down to potentially a fight here. No Stand United on Paz.
And we heard the Ocean Drake, great for the early game. Well, Mountain, very nice to have in the mid game when they start to break down these last tier 1s, start to push the tier 2s and threaten that Baron. Only 17 minutes in, so we're a bit of a ways away from that. Once doing his best to make sure they don't give up anything else. KaBuM figuring out their next play. Looks like it will be the Mountain. Only 2 members right now. Pentagram committed to the area, and Once has to be really careful. He has no MR. going to start to notice that now as the sigil is going to bring it home.
Yeah, and you can see Zantins had not even the push advantage, but he just decided to come down here. He's maybe giving up a lot of damage on that top turret because it is a Titanic Hydra Shen.
He's trying to chunk through as best he can. And it's a little bit. It's a slow chip away. Will start to even up the gold at least slightly if he can get it through, but it's not going to happen in this wave, Zirene. So for now, KaBuM still holding a pretty hefty gold lead 17 minutes in.
Yeah, but it's good from Zantins. That's what you want to see from a top laner that understands the map and the macro, where he doesn't even have shove advantage, but it's better for him to go roam down and not have to use teleport, because he could potentially get the teleport out of the enemy top laner.
And of course, the sacrifice he has to make up against a Shen, right? When Shen has the double globals, have to be willing to give up a little bit here and there to match. Backs are being pinged out as KaBuM are pretty diligent about laying down a little bit of vision control. Meanwhile, Ranger does retreat out. Once approaching level 11, I imagine we will see the ultimate evolve at this point.
You would think, but I thought we would have saw it at level 6.
He's got a different plan. I feel like he's going to show us a different style of Kha'Zix than the Splinter Cell, you know, ulti evolution. Maybe we're going to get the wings.
Oh, I don't think we'll get the wings. If you only go wings if it's like a down and dirty game where you can get the resets.
I mean, I see a Caitlyn, I see a Rakan, and I see a LeBlanc. So there is the dream scenario, Zirene, where he gets to just bounce house his way through the enemy team.
Yeah, I also see a LeBlanc and a Caitlyn, and I really want to go invisible instead of
get away from all of the champions who can kill me because I'm a little behind. Okay, I see your point.
I want to avoid them. You know, pick fights on my own terms.
Yeah, sadly cannot do that right now. Really waiting for someone to isolate themselves before he can make use of the Q evolve. And in the meantime, KaBuM are once again content slowing down, maybe looking for their next opportunity to make a big play for now, or matching up with the Shen just fine. Still looking pretty comfortable in that matchup. And the mid laners now sent top as both mid lanes take up their home.
Yeah, and Dynquedo has the... Oh, he's waiting for the spells to be used, and then jumps in.
Backing out. A little too quick on the trigger finger there, but ooh, here comes once. That is the ultimate evolution. It's just going to stealth his way through. Look for a little bit more, and there's that Kha'Zix damage. That's Drowsy LeBlanc. Does leap. Oh, looking for it. Can't get it.
Yep,
really
get it.
Creep wave, the ultimate homie there.
But see what happened with the Kha'Zix with the R evolution. He got all the way up there.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's exactly what you should be doing. I think he also went for Q instead of auto Q, which, remember, this LeBlanc now disappears when she falls below a certain threshold of HP and makes a clone.
And you really want to be able to hit her with something on the way out and, body block the void spikes. You really have to calculate what ability you want to use here. Once Will gets spotted out, build up her Peacemaker as well. Once
he can't quite get the war.
YutoriMoyasi says, I'm the carry, I'll take that 30 gold.
The pathing, I'll blame pathing on that one.
And Zirene, I think it's interesting to see what exactly, we're seeing from Pentagram. It does feel like they are being more proactive. They are trying to make these plays across the map that we may not have seen from them as much in LJL, trying to match a little bit what KaBuM is doing, trying to find picks of their own. But KaBuM, still very much in control. They've got that scaling Caitlyn. She's on 1.5 items. They've got the LeBlanc, who very clearly is comfortable in those 1v1s. And things do appear to be going at their pace.
Yeah, and they also have the Zeeks completed, but look at this.
Alistar, maybe not the ideal target. The Shen ultimate is coming in. Xayah, where's she going to go? Still, the Alistar is alive. They committed so many cooldowns. YutoriMoyasi is untouched, and Ramune is coming into the backside. That's the Sleepy Trouble bubble and the Kha'Zix with 4 members strong. Once, leaps and immediately stealths, trying to bait some cooldowns. Isn't going to find it. Pentagram in control right now. They need to get a greater advantage if they want to take something off of this.
Yeah, able to actually pick up Riyev there. And
Keto! Not quite able to grab it. The heal does come in once, stealthing his way through. No one there to block the filter for Peacemaker. He's solo. You can see Trundle wants to get a little bit more. Ranger even comfortable in the 1v1, but Drakos and Titan just pushing forward. YutoriMoyasi, he threatens with the feathers. They want another kill. He pulls it back. Cheating with a nice sidestep to dodge it out. Will not get snared. They're just trading blows here.
Still, that's Pentagram getting that 1 kill onto Riyev there. So that ends up having 1 go over to them, and they feel a little bit better about that. They do blow some summoner spells, though. Like the flash on the Alistar.
Something they'd really love to have if they could find a pick or an opportunity.
Yeah, you want a really big fight, not just a pick off of that. So,
yeah, and you can see, we know the Caitlyn and these extended little poke skirmishes is going to be so strong right now. But we also know that if you just let Xayah hit multiple people with those clean cuts, with those feathers, that YutoriMoyasi can tear through a team fight. He has a champion that can just set himself up, put the team on his back, and protect itself as well. He just hasn't found the opportunity.
Yeah, it's just interesting because the Xayah was mostly a takeaway, so it's not Xayah Rakan, and it forced the hand. Like, having a Tristana or having a Caitlyn here would feel a lot better, in my opinion. But the fact that they're playing like a pick composition, right? This is really a composition that thrives when you have kind of odd numbers in a fight. It's not a full-on team fight, but you're looking for like a bubble catch, an Alistar catch, the Kha'Zix catching somebody out isolated, and then having Shen kind of make it so that it's in your favor with the Stand United. So the Xayah doesn't really fit the composition completely, and it's just like a standard AD carry as a takeaway from the draft.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you can see Pentagram really hungry to find these kills, but they've kind of learned from the first few exchanges that they really have to be careful about who they focus. That's a sleepy Caitlyn.
And he used the net, and he didn't get over, so his net's on cooldown, but I don't think they see it.
Yeah, very small window for the team to potentially capitalize on.
Oh, Drakos might actually go for something here. The exhaust, though, for Ramune. That's the feels bad, man, where Zoe's running around with an exhaust randomly.
You look at your team, you check, who gave him an exhaust?
Nobody.
It came from a minion. That's the worst feeling.
Oh.
Once.
Wait.
Does it? Try to just do some damage there. All right. Doesn't want to go for it. Doesn't want to...
I am as confused as you.
Once is playing a different kind of Kha'Zix game than what we're used to. We have to accept that, Zirene. Once, though, may want to run, because the team is now moving in, and KaBuM really waiting patiently for those backs to come in from the side of Pentagram before moving in for this early vision, taking control now of the top side, playing the slow calculated game, putting themselves in a position to take Baron as well, but the difference between setting up the Baron vision and taking the Baron has been massive in this tournament thus far.
Hello. Goodbye.
Oh, that's the nervous moment where you're like, if I don't hit this bush at just the right time to proc my stealth again, I will die. But he does it anyway, and this is the power of the Kha'Zix we talked about with the R evolve there, the Void Assault.
Yeah, it's like it's a really good evolution or something.
We're a little upset, guys. We're a little upset about the evolution choice.
I mean, stuff happens all the time. I've seen people like misclick and all that, but it'd be interesting to know what his intent was. I think he's just trying to get ahead, but it didn't work out. They go over the wall.
Immediately, they're going to start it up. Zirene, no vision here.
Remember, they have a Mountain Drake, so it goes down faster than you think it does. There's a blue trinket on Zoe. They're going to see it at like 4K HP.
Pentagram,
wait,
need to make a
once almost there.
They make the flash.
Wait a second.
The leap over, can he get it?
Oh!
Look at the smite! Doesn't get it in the end. Ranger secures it. A desperate attempt for Pentagram, but KaBuM get the Baron in the end.
It took them so long because KaBuM had been around that area for ages, for minutes, being like, are we doing it or not? They don't have the vision control on Pentagram's side. KaBuM able to get the Baron.
Difficult spot to be in if you're Pentagram. Not at all what you wanted. The game was going slow. You were scaling. Maybe you were playing how you were used to be playing, but KaBuM very confidently are willing to risk the 50-50. They believe they can make it out in the end. It comes down to Ranger getting with the smite, but comes in clutch.
Ooh. Once goes over, but everybody stops damage. It sits at 1,000. Nobody's even like AoEing or anything there. He has to smite it when it's not in smite range. He can't really get off the abilities that he needs to either to put it even lower. So yeah, it's great by Ranger and the rest of the team to not do anything.
You saw it go down to 100 health, Zirene. If they had done just a little bit more damage, that Kha'Zix would have stolen the Baron. Could have put Pentagram in a fantastic situation and averted disaster completely, but now they're going to be playing on the back foot for at least the next 2.5 minutes.
They're going to lose a lot here, too, and that means that Cheetan and you're going to also see Drakos have a lot more damage, and that's what this composition is about, is having damage on those two guys so that they can have this kind of meat wall in front of them that will soak bubbles for them, that will also allow them to kind of just have these front-to-back team fights that I frankly think that KaBuM win because Pentagram are so focused on picking.
Can't go for the great 5v5. Definitely have some vocal KaBuM fans in the audience.
I mean, I see a Brazilian flag. Like, there are people here definitely supporting KaBuM in the CB LoL region.
Good to see the fan support come out all the way here to Berlin, and good win for the CB LoL fans. If KaBuM can find it, they're well on the way, Zirene. And maybe not the game that we expected to. I think I personally wanted more blood, but it's been very controlled. But these few explosive moments have really defined it for both sides.
It's not the game that I think anybody expected. Zantins on a tank, the new LeBlanc coming through for Drakos. And then the bottom lane was something that it looked like got flipped around by Yutori later. So it's been kind of an awkward game all around, but it came down to a few picks, and once KaBuM got an advantage, they've been able to keep it, and they used their composition to bait objectives very effectively. I think KaBuM are playing the map very intelligently and showing Pentagram that their usual style of slow, controlled games isn't going to fly here.
Absolutely. They want to play slow and steady, that KaBuM are more than willing to just rush down that Baron, and it's really been the team effort across the board to bring it home. Have not seen the immaculate individual performances that you might have been expecting from names like Drakos, someone like Cheetan, and from Zantins as well, but really the team game has been fantastic for KaBuM.
Yeah, if you kind of leave somebody off on their own, they'll get picked off by Kha'Zix, Sleepy Trouble Bubble, etc. So you really do have to just play as a team, group as a cluster. And they're even just ignoring kind of the Shen on the bottom side of the map and saying this is just more valuable. The Shen can go ahead and have, you know, Shen's day out, that's fine. But the boys are going to have a party in the top side.
Exactly. Hey, man, get as many globals as you want. We're here to play. We know where we want to be. One spot on the map for the team right now for KaBuM. Call the Forge God. Just used to zone the team away, an inhibitor in their sights. Shen wants to fire back, he wants to get something, but in goes the Alistar, that's the ultimate. Once, what can he get onto the backside? He has been charmed up, still no damage under the Kha'Zix. Maybe he can find a way back. YutoriMoyasi hitting the tanks, uncontested, but Drakos and Cheetan just waiting, sitting, looking for an opportunity to come into the fight. So much damage comes out, the fumble on the combo
Cheetan
means Gaeng is going down immediately. And Cheetan, that was the freest team fight of his life. No one could get into the backline to contest him.
Yeah, you could see Gaeng tried to go in and have an attack on Cheetan there, wasn't able to actually catch him, so the Caitlyn gets away, still with flash and heal.
Everything that they want there. Extending their gold lead even further. And you have to, I mean, Pentagram have to make a play to try to stop this from going. They can't just let themselves get walked down, but could not do it in the end, could not execute.
I mean, it looked like the best opportunity for them because the LeBlanc was mid. They were able to have a 5v4 for a limited time, but the engage just was a little bit off. And so it ends up being, I believe, a 1-for-1 there where the supports get traded off.
It's all right for them. And take a look at it one more time. We can see how this unfolded.
Yeah, they get to just slaughter the turret. Once the Ornn ultimate's used, Gaeng says, all right, it's time to go. Headbutt, flash, pulverize, doesn't get Cheetan, and he gets to go behind the trap line. And now going after Cheetan, you've already used the headbutt pulverize. You've already used the shadow dash. There's no way to reach that Caitlyn that just gets to throw out all these pot shots and then gets to kind of retaliate. Cheetan is just playing fantastically, kind of aware of his surroundings at all times. The positioning has been fantastic, and he's not overplaying. So many people will overplay situations and use things that they don't have to.
And the thing I like about this is we're seeing how his champion indicates his playstyle. Because we saw in the Ezreal highlights, on Ezreal, on that champion with so much mobility, he's willing to play forward, he's willing to fit that role on the team. On Caitlyn, he's playing it slow and steady. He knows if he messes up that net, he dies, so he's just willing to just chunk away, consistently dealing damage, being that threat, setting up the traps, being the backline AD carry. It's a good look for KaBuM. Now, Zirene, this is kind of... The Baron has faded away, but this hold does not get much easier because the Caitlyn is so strong. Just take a bit of a nap here, but Ranger is there to body block. Cannot find the fall, but once again, call the Forge God, rinse and repeat, forces out the Xayah ulti in return. Ramune just desperately trying to fire back, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is connecting on the tanks. Not what the team needs. Drakos leaps in once, autoed down, Cheetan. Sheriff of Piltover coming home, and YutoriMoyasi can trade autos once or twice, but his team is just too far behind. And KaBuM, are they going to go for the end here? Will they overstay their welcome? Will they take the risk?
They just don't really have much of a team fight on the side of Pentagram, so KaBuM just get to force these over and over again. Waves have to be cleared on the top and bottom side for Pentagram, and there's a Baron in 30 seconds here that KaBuM can recall and set up for.
If you're a Brazilian fan, once again, this is exactly how you want to start the tournament. It's not wild and crazy. It is calm. It is controlled, steadily exerting that dominance, and still showing off some of the individual talent.
I love this, where Dynquedo goes in, throws out, and gets the electrocute so quickly on the LeBlanc.
And that's the tight 9, though. The no hesitation flash auto attack to get the kill. Cheetan coming in clutch. And at this point, it feels like for Pentagram, 6K down, Baron is up. They steal this, or they're out of this game, Zirene.
And that's what KaBuM also knows. So I expect KaBuM to just play it slow, You see that YutoriMoyasi's in the top side trying to clear out super minions, whereas Paz on the bottom side with Stand United trying to clear and push there. So there's kind of a timer, and they're mentioning him.
Goodbye, jungler. That's exactly what they want. Going to get one pick off. Cheetan going to poke down a little bit as well, and that's going to be a free Baron, short of some miraculous contest here, but Pentagram don't have the resources, don't have the members, don't have the gold, so KaBuM going to get this one uncontested after the pick onto once.
And it's been a really clean game from KaBuM ever since that part at the start where things started going Pentagram's way. They said, nope, let's go ahead, bait the Baron, got the Baron, and then from there it's just been smooth sailing. You're seeing that macro play, and coming in it was very hard to rank where KaBuM was going to be in this group. Second, third, some people saying they don't know, maybe fourth, but KaBuM right now showing that at least they have Pentagram's number in the macro game.
Absolutely do. First performance on this international stage for this lineup, and it looks good, Zirene. They're controlled. Doesn't look like any individual member is crumbling under the pressure. Such a high-stakes match, and now they're pushing in to close it out, but Alistar wants one more desperate game. Once into the back line, Cheetan's still alive, healing up, has a little bit of extra lifesteal on that physical damage, starts to pull through. Paz isn't blocking anything. YutoriMoyasi and Ramune are still alive, but the tank line is dead. Others come out, and it is not enough, Zirene. The tanks are dead, and the game is all but over. TP to keep the minions alive. The Baron buff going to close it out in fashion. KaBuM coming in strong for Brazil in the CBLOL with their first win in the play-in stage.
A different look for them because it was slow and controlled, and a different look for Zantins, playing a tank in the top lane, but he was in charge of the engage, and he made the right plays constantly.
And honestly, we also have to give praise to Ranger.
Yeah.
Fantastic performances from the laners, from the support, from everyone on the team on the side of KaBuM, but he was the guy who facilitated so much of the action in the early game.
That's the thing, is you're going to see these great numbers from Cheetan. You're going to see the pressure from Dynquedo. But a lot of what made this game work was the fact that Zantins had the right engages, and that Ranger, his ganks were on point early. He really did shut down once and played off his laner as well.
Yeah, and talk about the freedom. Zantins had to leave his lane. That's because they put that Shen behind. And overall, working out well. One win coming through. Everyone's probably wondering, is this the KaBuM lineup that can contest Supermassive, the expected favorites coming into this tournament? How are they going to go head-to-head later today?
That bodes really well so far for the CBLOL region.
And it's, once again, a great start. And if you're on the side of Rampage, a little bit rougher. A lot of small fumbles. They looked done after all that pressure in the early game. It just looked like this was going to be a game where KaBuM dominated. But they did fire back. They found a few kills. They punished some of the aggressive moves for KaBuM, and then it just stopped in its tracks.
Yeah, the big issue is the fact the composition just didn't seem to come together. It's a lot of pick, a lot of something that'll catch you off guard. But KaBuM said, all right, we're just not going to do that. Nobody be sectioned off by themselves. Constantly team fight. They don't care if the Shen is still pushing. He takes turrets very slowly. And so they ended up just playing around their own win condition, but also understanding the enemy's win condition, which is exactly what you want to see from a team.
And I just got word from the stats team, 40.7 damage share for Cheetan. Those team fights where we saw him stand still on auto attack, turns out those rack up your numbers.
Well, he was able to kind of like, they didn't engage on him very cleanly. Even in that last fight where Gaeng went for him again, he was able to net backwards, and that saves his flash. It allows him to just be aggressive, and then he can have his flash for the moment where he flashes forward to finish the kill.
And has enough gold left over from all of his items to get that elixir to give him a little bit of lifesteal despite the build not really allowing it to get in there, and just heals up. They can't even contest him. They can't even poke him out. But to hear more about KaBuM's victory, let's send it over to Shox and the analysts.
Thank you very much, Zaniel. So this game in the beginning, very competitive between both sides, but in the end, KaBuM closing it out pretty cleanly. Let's take a look at the champion select. There were a lot of very interesting picks there, and we got to talk about the LeBlanc versus Zoe matchup. The LeBlanc of old, even though she was new, reverting a lot of the changes that were made to her in the Assassin rework. You, Veri, you liked LeBlanc, but not necessarily on Dynquedo before the game.
So I think like the thing about LeBlanc is she has to get an early lead. She is a mid lane assassin. She's really good at finding picks. And against Zoe, it can be sometimes challenging if you don't find that early advantage. Now, especially on a player like Dynquedo, I think that he is during the regular season not a person that would often find those early advantages, and he would actually be a lot of the early deficits that the team often struggled for. But once, my apologies, Ranger did an excellent job of shutting that down and trying to get Dynquedo ahead in the early game.
Yeah, Ranger did a phenomenal job. And remember, if Zoe ever gets ahead in this lane, she does have the fact that she can go minion dematerializer, unlock going towards bottom lane. They had such strong vision control. I'm trying to remember, it was Pentagram. Pentagram has such strong vision control pre-10 minutes in the bottom side of the map. They just really needed to use it, but the fact that Zoe was behind because those ganks were working quite well for them, then suddenly, yeah, you know what, KaBuM's going to do quite well there.
And I feel like that what made it even harder for the LeBlanc to get ahead was that Shen. We saw the second replay there of how effective it can be at mitigating the pressure. Things like Janet and Lulu can also be really obnoxious at allowing these assassins to get those kills, and Shen is a really good answer. So I felt like, okay, the plan here from Pentagram is to use engage tools like the Kha'Zix flank with the Shen ult to get involved in these fights, but also the Shen can mitigate a lot of the early pressure that LeBlanc is trying to throw down. But Ranger had some really intelligent early game pathing where he went a lot towards top side. He tried to set up his mid laner for success, and overall getting that top tower is what opened up the map for KaBuM.
Yeah, he got the first punch.
Sorry, it does speak to me to the confidence of KaBuM and Dynquedo that he pulls out that LeBlanc, even though he knows that it's a bit risky.
Yeah, that's why it was interesting, because they got the first punch topside, but immediately I felt like Pentagram made a mistake trying to answer to that, going topside.
Yes.
You want to go bottom side. They already set it up properly. In fact, YutoriMoyasi and Gaeng were doing incredibly well within the lane, getting the solo kill. So if your bottom lane is doing incredibly well in the down that side of the map, and if you have the control, you need to use it, and you have Alistar for the setup as well.
Well, that is true, but KaBuM did take over, and KaBuM in the CBLOL is really good at snowballing leads. Now, I don't think it was out of control incredibly fast. It's not like they snowballed it straight to the end. Pentagram was able to put up some things against them in the mid game because it could have ended much faster, and KaBuM needed 2 Barons, and we have to credit them especially for that first Baron. They played that phenomenally.
I feel like they used their composition extremely well. Not only did they didn't skip any steps. They made sure they had priority over the mid lane, they made sure that they had deep vision control over the enemy side of the jungle, and they basically just made sure that, hey, we have a LeBlanc. If they come close, we can look for these picks. And they just did everything that you're supposed to, and sure, this was a little bit risky, but overall it did end up working out.
Yeah, it was credit to Pentagram for being patient for that long, just because Kha'Zix very easily can just rummage through the jungle, not being seen because of the ulti getting involved. So it was great from them. Even better for KaBuM to play it even more patiently, just so they can get the setup right. Sure, it looked really close at the end of it, but it was going to be a real chore for Pentagram to be able to get that steal.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that all of KaBuM, they instantly stopped hitting the Baron. They were all very aware that Kha'Zix could come in and steal it away. So I felt like there was a lot of respect being shown, and it just goes to show you saw their impressive Baron stats from the regular season. This is a team that doesn't just rely on individual playmaking power to get wins. They actually have a pretty good ability to set up for around these objectives and take them mostly cleanly for the most part.
Well, in terms of them being flexible, Zantins in the top lane played only 3 tanks in the entire CBLOL split and 21 carries. Here he was on Ornn, and that, I think, is a testament to their flexibility and the fact that they're willing to try different things and play different games on the MSI stage.
Yeah, it makes it so suddenly you're so focused on Titan doing very well. In fact, giving him the space to do just that. So playing the tank, sure, he's not going to be the one to carry in the top side of the map, but it allows for the secondary carry to do his job.
Convincing game by KaBuM, but LJL's Pentagram is going to have to go back to the drawing board. They are up on stage immediately after the break. They have to bounce back fast if they hope to upset Supermassive. Don't go anywhere.
Ranger just gets to walk